Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you've ever felt a woman care about you, but act like she doesn't, stay with me, because what you're about to hear might shake you. Before we go deeper, take 1 second to like this video and subscribe, because what I'm sharing here is the kind of emotional truth most men never get access to. I'm speaking to you not just as a psychologist, but as a woman who understands the emotional layers other women don't always explain. There are moments when a woman's heart is loud, but her behavior is quiet, controlled, almost guarded. And if you misread that silence, you walk away from something real, thinking she never cared. Here's the truth men aren't usually told. When feelings feel risky, love doesn't come out looking like love. It comes out sideways, subtle, hidden in plain sight. You might be looking for obvious affection, clear words, big gestures, emotional confessions. But when a woman is afraid of how deeply she feels, she does the opposite. She pulls back just enough to protect herself, while still orbiting your world in ways you don't notice unless you know where to look. Emotionally, this happens when desire and fear exist at the same time. She wants closeness, but she's terrified of rejection, loss of control, or being more invested than you. So instead of leaning in fully, she masks it with neutrality, teasing, independence, or even distance, and you from the outside think, if she liked me, I'd know. No, not always. Some women don't hide feelings because they don't exist. They hide them because they matter too much. The mistake most men make is judging her emotions only by surface behavior. But attraction isn't always loud. Sometimes the strongest feelings are the ones fighting hardest not to be exposed. What I'm about to show you are the small psychological tells, the behaviors that slip through when a woman cares more than she wants you to realize. Miss these, and you misread her entirely. She remembers the smallest things about you, details you forgot you ever shared, but acts like it's accidental. You'll mention a random childhood story once, maybe about a place you used to go, a food you liked, a dream you once had and let go of. Weeks later, she brings it up casually, like it just floated into her mind. Oh yeah, didn't you say you used to love that? Her tone is light, almost dismissive, but her memory is precise. That isn't random. That's emotional attention. When a woman has feelings she's trying to hide, her mind tracks you differently. Psychologically, emotional investment sharpens memory. The brain prioritizes what feels meaningful. She may pretend she's not that interested, but her subconscious is quietly cataloging you. But here's the part men misread. She won't highlight that she remembers. In fact, she may downplay it. She might shrug, change the subject, or tease you right after. That's not indifference. That's emotional self-protection. If she lets you see how closely she listens, she feels exposed. A woman who doesn't care forgets. A woman who cares too much remembers, but hides the fact that she does. You might think she's just being friendly. You might assume she's like this with everyone. But pay attention to the pattern. Does she recall your stress before you mention it? Ask about something important to you when it's relevant again? Notice shifts in your mood before you explain them? That's emotional attunement, and it rarely happens without deeper feeling. The reason she conceals this is simple. Remembering is intimacy. It shows you matter. And if she's unsure where she stands with you, revealing that level of attention feels like giving away her emotional position. So instead, she wraps care in casualness. She makes devotion look like coincidence. If you slow down and notice, you'll see it. Not in what she declares, but in what she quietly keeps about you. She pulls away right after moments of connection. You have a deep conversation. You laugh in a way that feels natural, easy, almost intimate. There's eye contact that lingers a second longer than usual. The energy shifts, warmer, softer, more real. And just when you think something is opening, she changes. She takes longer to reply. Her tone becomes more neutral. She acts busy, distracted, slightly harder to read. To you, it feels like interest dropped, but emotionally, something else just happened. Closeness triggered vulnerability. When a woman has feelings she's trying to keep under control, emotional intimacy can feel overwhelming. The connection is what she wants, but also what scares her. Because connection creates emotional risk. Now she has something to lose. Now you matter more than she planned. So she regulates herself the only way she knows how: distance. Not permanent distance, not disappearance, just enough space to regain emotional balance. Psychologically, this is a push-pull response to rising attachment. Her nervous system is trying to calm the intensity she feels. Men often misinterpret this as disinterest, but disinterest doesn't follow closeness. Indifference doesn't show up strongest right after emotional depth. The timing is the clue. If she consistently becomes slightly distant after meaningful interactions, not arguments, not boredom, but real connection, it's often because her feelings moved faster than her comfort level. She's not stepping away from you. She's stepping away from how exposed she suddenly feels. Watch what happens after a few days. Does she reappear? Restart conversations? Send something random? That's her orbiting back once the emotional wave settles. A woman who doesn't feel anything drifts away steadily. A woman who feels too much pulls back, then returns. It's not logic. It's emotional self-protection trying to keep her heart from moving faster than her safety allows. She teases you in ways that feel personal, but she laughs like it's nothing. At first, you might think it's just playful joking, harmless banter. But notice the pattern. The teasing is specific, targeted at things only she knows about you, things that touch your insecurities or quirks. The way she delivers it, with a smile, light tone, maybe even a little mockery, is deliberate. It's not cruelty. It's connection disguised as distance. Why does she do this? Because showing affection directly feels vulnerable. A compliment would expose her feelings. A soft touch or gaze could reveal more than she's ready to admit. Teasing becomes the language of hidden attachment. It's a psychological shield. She wants to engage with you, to be close, but she fears what that closeness could mean. So she wraps her attention in humor. Here's the subtle truth most men miss. The things she teases you about are often the very things she notices most. She's paying attention to your habits, your preferences, your reactions, the things that make you uniquely you. And she's using them to create interaction without revealing her heart. If a woman were indifferent, her jokes would be generic, random, or superficial. But this is personal. It carries emotional weight beneath the surface. Each laugh hides recognition, curiosity, and a magnetic pull she doesn't want to admit. The key is in her eyes and timing. When she teases, watch the micro expressions, the softening of her gaze, the fleeting glance to see your reaction, the small smile that follows your response. That's the unconscious reveal. That's the part of her saying, I see you, I notice you, I care more than I should. And this pattern repeats because it's safe for her. She can keep her feelings hidden while still keeping you close, influencing your mood, testing your responses, and feeling a secret intimacy she can't voice. Teasing becomes a paradoxical love letter, unreadable on the surface, but saturated with emotion if you learn how to decode it. If you start seeing this consistently, the personal jokes, the laughter masking attention, take note. This is emotional proximity disguised as casual distance. It's a signal she's emotionally invested, even if she would never say it out loud. Most men overlook this. They think teasing is just fun. But when you understand it, you see the silent truth. She's closer than she's letting on, and her heart is speaking in riddles. She mirrors you, not just your words, but your energy, your habits, your moods, and acts like it's accidental. When a woman hides her feelings, she unconsciously adapts to you. She might pick up phrases you use, match your walking pace, even echo your posture during conversations. It's subtle, almost invisible, but it's there. Psychologists call this mirroring, and it's one of the most powerful signs of attraction. But when love is concealed, it's never obvious. She disguises it as coincidence, as if she's naturally aligned with you. Notice the timing. If she laughs right after you do, repeats your style of joking, or starts liking the same things you casually mention, and it isn't consistent with how she behaves with everyone else, that's intentional. Subconsciously intentional. Her brain is wired to connect, to build rapport, to synchronize with someone who matters emotionally. Here's the thing most men miss. Mirroring is vulnerability disguised as normalcy. She can't say, I want to be closer to you, because that would expose her feelings. So she matches you quietly, letting her body and mind do what words cannot. And there's a pattern. If you shift your mood, she subtly shifts hers. If you talk about a dream or an insecurity, she adjusts her tone, her pace, her attention. This isn't manipulation, it's emotional attunement, a hidden declaration of care. She's aligning with you because she feels deeply about you, even when she's afraid to admit it. The difference between casual friendliness and hidden affection lies in consistency. A woman mirroring you unconsciously will repeat it across contexts without thinking. She won't just do it once. She's always orbiting your emotional space, tuning herself to your frequency. You might think she's just polite, just agreeable, just likable. But this is different. This is a subtle magnetism. She is emotionally present in ways you don't consciously register, guiding herself closer to you, silently signaling connection while pretending it's natural. Recognizing this is critical. It's one of the most reliable signs she feels something she can't voice. Most men overlook it because it's invisible until you know to look. But when you notice the repeated mirroring, the alignment of energy and attention, you realize she's letting her heart move closer without letting her lips say a word. This is hidden love in action, quiet, deliberate, and emotionally charged, even when she's trying not to show it. She tests you, not with obvious challenges, but with subtle emotional experiments that feel almost accidental. You might notice small scenarios where she gauges your reaction. She brings up a topic to see how supportive you are. She makes a playful boundary and watches if you respect it. Or she shares a slightly vulnerable thought to see if you handle it with care. On the surface, it may feel random, like coincidence or casual conversation. But look closer. This is a hidden map of her heart, and you're the one being measured. Women who hide their feelings fear rejection more than most men realize. So instead of confessing, they test. They want to know, if I expose a piece of myself, will he respond with care? Will he notice me? Will he stay? Each test is a calculated risk, and the fact that she continues to engage afterward tells you she's emotionally invested. Notice the patterns. Does she push boundaries slightly and then retreat? Does she bring up personal topics, then gauge your response before continuing? Does she tease or challenge you, but with a glimmer of hope behind the humor? These are psychological breadcrumbs. They are her way of letting you in without fully admitting how she feels. Here's the crucial part most men miss. Testing is not hostility. It's desire. It's curiosity. It's protection. She wants closeness, but she's afraid to fully hand over her emotions. Every subtle test is a signal that she's trying to measure safety, the emotional safety of being vulnerable with you. And when you pass her subtle tests, notice how her tone changes. A small softening, a lingering look, a hint of warmth she doesn't fully explain. That's reward. That's her heart quietly saying, I'm noticing you. I care about how you respond. If you miss these tests, you miss the language of her hidden love. Most men only see the surface, interpreting playfulness or boundary setting as disinterest. But in truth, these tests are her heart navigating closeness safely, a silent map of what she feels but refuses to declare. Recognizing this is a game changer. These subtle experiments aren't manipulative. They're deeply human. They're a way for her to love without the terrifying risk of exposure. And for you, noticing them means you're finally reading between the lines of hidden desire. She acts indifferent in public but reveals cracks in private. In front of friends, colleagues, or family, she might appear composed, distant, even aloof. Her laughter is measured, her gestures minimal, her words neutral. To the casual observer, or to you if you're not paying attention, it seems like she doesn't care. But the moment you're alone, the mask slips, just slightly. A lingering glance, a softer tone, a small, unguarded smile. These micro moments are gold. They're windows into the truth she's hiding. Why does she do this? Social safety. Publicly displaying affection can feel exposing, risky, and for a woman who's guarding her feelings, terrifying. By staying neutral in front of others, she protects her heart. But privately, she can allow herself to reveal fragments of what she actually feels. Notice the contrast. When no one else is watching, her attention sharpens. She listens more closely. She laughs more freely. She mirrors your emotions in ways she won't in public. These shifts are rarely conscious, but they're emotionally deliberate. Her subconscious is revealing what she's been suppressing: her desire to connect, her admiration, her love. Here's the thing most men miss: the split between public neutrality and private warmth is one of the clearest indicators of hidden affection. Women who don't feel for you have no reason to change their behavior based on the audience, but a woman secretly invested will adjust, protect, and reveal selectively. Watch her eyes when the room is empty. Watch her gestures, her tone, the subtle ways she leans closer just for you. That contrast between who she is in public versus private is a roadmap of her feelings. It's deliberate, subconscious, and impossible to fake completely. Understanding this allows you to see her truth without words. Her public composure is a shield. Her private moments are her confession. Most men misread the exterior and miss the interior entirely, thinking she's cold or disinterested. But when you notice the cracks, you realize she's closer than she's ever let on, hiding a depth of feeling that's rarely spoken but deeply felt. If you start recognizing these private versus public contrasts, you start decoding the unspoken language of her heart, the language of love she doesn't dare reveal openly. She makes small sacrifices you barely notice, but they reveal more than words ever could. Maybe she rearranges her schedule to spend time with you, or remembers to do little things that make your life easier, things she doesn't announce or expect recognition for. She downplays them, laughs them off, pretends it's nothing, but pay attention. Hidden affection often shows up in action, not in declarations. The more she quietly bends, adjusts, or invests in your comfort, the more she's revealing an emotional truth she's not ready to speak aloud. Here's the psychology behind it. When someone cares deeply but fears exposure, direct expression of love feels too risky. So instead, she expresses care indirectly. Subtle sacrifices, attention to your needs, emotional availability in small doses. These are her ways of showing, without saying, "I'm invested, I care, I feel deeply for you." The trick most men fall for is assuming that if she doesn't say it, it doesn't exist. But action is often far more revealing than words. A woman who is indifferent won't bend her routine for you, won't remember the tiny preferences you share, won't quietly prioritize your presence. A woman secretly in love will, and she will do it with a kind of invisible grace, making it seem effortless, casual, almost accidental, because revealing too much feels dangerous. Notice the pattern over time. Does she make your life subtly easier? Does she show up when it matters, even if she downplays it? Does she go out of her way to protect your feelings, even in ways you might not consciously register? These small, consistent sacrifices are the emotional footprints of hidden love. And here's the critical point most men never realize. These actions carry intention without exposure. Every effort, every consideration, every tiny sacrifice is her heart speaking quietly, pleading with you to see her care, without daring to make herself vulnerable. When you combine all the signs, her memory, her distance after closeness, her teasing, mirroring, testing, public-private contrast, and quiet sacrifices, a clear picture emerges. She's not indifferent. She's terrified of revealing how deeply she feels, and that fear makes her love invisible, but unmistakable. If you've been paying attention, you'll recognize these signs. And when you do, you'll understand something most men never do. Love isn't always loud. Sometimes it whispers, hides, and tests, but it's there, unmistakably, if you're willing to see it.